자, 그럼 1월 9일 월요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 조주연 선생님과 함께 시작합니다.
Korea's air quality reached the worst level this winter on Saturday due to high levels of fine dust and yellow dust, triggering ultrafine dust advisories in all areas except Jeju Island.
미세먼지와 황사가 기승을 부린 지난 주말, 제주도를 제외한 전 지역에 초미세먼지 특보가 내려진 가운데 전국이 올겨울 들어 최악의 공기질을 보였습니다.
The U.S. House of Representatives has elected Republican leader Kevin McCarthy as Speaker in a dramatic 15th vote. After a contentious 4 days, the longest the chamber has gone leaderless in a century.
미국 신임 하원 의장의 케빈 맥카티 공화당 원내대표가 15번의 투표 끝에 극적으로 선출됐습니다. 이번 투표 과정에서 의회는 개원 후 의장이 공석인 상태로 나흘간 진행됐는데 이는 100년 만에 가장 긴 공백 기간이었습니다.
Ukraine has accused Russia of not respecting a 36-hour ceasefire to mark Orthodox Christmas, while Moscow claims it had been forced to retaliate following Kyiv's rejection of the truce offer.
우크라이나는 러시아 정교회 성탄절을 맞아 선언한 36시간 휴전 약속을 지키지 않고 공격했다고 비난했습니다. 반면 러시아는 우크라이나가 휴전 제의를 거부했기 때문에 어쩔 수 없이 공격한 것이라고 주장했습니다.
China has lifted COVID-19 restrictions on foreign travel, ending quarantine requirements for inbound travelers, and with it, nearly 3 years of self-imposed isolation.
중국이 해외발 입국자에 대한 코로나 관련 규제를 해제했습니다. 이에 따라 입국자를 대상으로 한 시설 격리 및 거의 3년 동안에 시행된 자가 격리도 시행이 종료됩니다.
Mexican authorities have arrested the son of notorious drug lord El Chapo in a dramatic operation that led to clashes with cartel members and left 29 people dead.
멕시코 당국이 대대적인 군사작전을 통해 악명 높은 마약왕 엘 차포의 아들을 체포했습니다. 이 과정에서 군 병력과 갱단이 충돌하면서 29명의 사망자가 나왔습니다. Morning Headline Expressions. 자, 그럼 한번 볼까요? From the headlines today, we looked at the word trigger.
Yes, to trigger means to conjure something up or to cause something.
Yeah. To trigger, to start, to cause 이런 느낌이죠. 그래서
That's right.
촉발시키다라는 건데 a trigger is actually something you find on a pistol, a
That's
gun,
right.
isn't it? 방아쇠를 당긴다라는 데에서 온 거라서요. To make something happen.
That's right. So triggering ultrafine dust advisories in all areas.
Yeah.
And if you saw the sky condition, you probably would have understood why
Yeah.
it had triggered all of the advisories.
So in this case, it means the air quality was so bad that it made weather experts issue this advisory.
That's right.
Okay. The second term was contentious.
Being contentious is that it's heated with argument and that it is causing people to have debates and to fight with each other. The U.S. House of Representatives, in the process of electing Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, had a very contentious 4 days because they had 14 failed ballots. And in a very dramatic 15th ballot, they elected Kevin McCarthy. And it was the first in a century in which they had this long, very drawn out election.
어떻게 딱 100년 만에
Exactly.
이런 일이 일어났는지 잘 모르겠는데 진짜 100년 전에 그때도 하원 의장을 이제 바로 선출하지 못해서 9차 투표까지 간 적이 있었는데 이번에는 15차까지 갔었죠. 그래서 나흘 동안 contentious한 시간을 보냈다. 논란이 많이 되고 의견이 분분한 그런 시간을 보냈다. There were loads of arguments. Some people didn't want McCarthy to be the House Speaker. And a lot of people still did want him to be it. And eventually he did become the Speaker.
That's right.
The third expression was retaliate.
Retaliating means that you are paying back with an attack when you have been attacked by someone. So if no one attacks you, you can't retaliate for anything because you haven't been attacked.
Yeah, the word re in there
Yes.
sort of means that you're doing it in response to something.
That's right. So Moscow, or Russia in this case, claims that it had been forced to retaliate to certain measures that had been done or provoked by Ukraine.
그래요. retaliate는 여기서 어떤 반격을 가하다 아니면은 보복하다의 느낌으로 볼 수 있습니다. 그래서 중요한 것은 선제 공격이 아니고요. 반격을 가한다라는 느낌이죠. 그래서
right.
러시아 측에서는 먼저 우리가 공격한 게 아니다. 우크라이나 측에서 이 휴전을 받아들이질 않고 먼저 공격을 하니까 우리도 반격을 한 것이다. 이런 느낌으로 얘기를 했고요. The next expression was a self-imposed isolation.
If you have a self-imposed whatever,
Yeah.
you're doing it to yourself. No one is actually forcing you or asking you to do it, but you're actually doing it to yourself voluntarily.
Yeah.
In this case, it was China self-imposing a ban on every inbound or outbound travelers. And it was an isolation because they wanted zero COVID patients.
Yeah, exactly. So over the past 3 years, China decided to put in place isolation measures or quarantine measures, and no one forced them to do it.
Yes.
You know, there wasn't another country that said, do this, do that. No, China decided to do it on its own accord. So it was self-imposed. 자진해서 했다라는 뜻으로 중국에서 지난 3년 동안 이 Zero COVID policy의 일환으로 여러 가지 이제 격리 조치를 시행을 했었는데요. 그 얘기를 하는 겁니다. 그게 이제 한 3년 만에 다 해제가 됐다. 자, 그 다음에는요, 마지막으로 notorious.
Notorious, meaning infamous or being very famous, but in a very bad way. So, we have been talking about a drug lord in Mexico, about a cartel that is dealing with drugs for all over the world. And he is the son of a notorious drug lord, El Chapo.
네.
So it runs in the family.
I don't know if this is a good thing to have running in the family.
Yes.
But notorious, that's right, is, infamous, 악명높다라는 뜻이에요. Famous for all the bad reasons, not the good reasons. 그다음에 이제 druglord, 우리말로 이제 마약왕이라고 아까 얘기했었는데 이제 몇몇 외신에서는 뭐 kingpin이라는
Yes.
표현도 쓰더라고요. drugs, kingpin 마찬가지가 되겠습니다. 아주 악명 높은 그런 마약왕 엘차포의 아들이 체포가 됐다. 자, 이렇게 해서 오늘 헤드라인에 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤습니다. 모닝 헤드라인 익스프레션스는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 자, 그러면은 1월 10일 화요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 레이와 함께 시작합니다.
The number of coffee shops in Korea has more than doubled over the past 4 years to nearly 100,000, outnumbering chicken shops to become the second most prevalent eatery business in the nation following Korean restaurants.
국내 커피 및 음료점이 4년 만에 2배 이상 급증해 10만 개에 육박하는 것으로 나타났습니다. 전체 외식업계에서 차지하는 비율도 한식 음식점에 이어 치킨집을 제치고 2위를 차지했습니다.
Thousands of supporters of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro stormed the country's congressional building, Supreme Court, and presidential palace on Sunday to protest against his successor and rival, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva.
브라질에서 대통령 선거에 패배한 자이르 볼소나로 전 대통령 지지자들 수천 명이 대선 결과에 불복하며 의회와 대법원, 대통령궁에 난입해 폭동을 일으켰습니다.
Thailand's royal palace has confirmed that the king's eldest daughter remains unconscious more than 3 weeks after collapsing due to a heart problem following a mycoplasma infection.
태국 왕실은 국왕의 첫째 딸인 공주가 마이코플라즈마 감염에 따른 심장 염증으로 쓰러져 3주 넘게 의식 불명 상태에 있다고 밝혔습니다.
China has announced it will implement new rules to restrict the production of deepfakes, marking the world's first comprehensive attempt by a major regulatory agency to curb one of the most explosive and controversial areas of AI advancement.
중국이 세계 주요국 중 처음으로 논란의 여지가 큰 AI 영역 중 하나인 딥페이크에 대한 포괄적 규제를 시행하기로 했습니다.
The UK government has announced that single-use items like plastic cutlery, plates, and trays will be banned for takeaway food in England in a bid to reduce pollution.
영국 정부가 환경 오염을 줄이기 위해 잉글랜드 내 테이크아웃 전문점에서 사용되는 플라스틱 포크, 접시, 쟁반 등 일회용품 식기 사용을 금지하겠다고 밝혔습니다. Morning Headline Expressions. From the headlines today, we looked at some terms, including prevalent.
Prevalent means there's a lot of something. It's very common, very widespread. You can see it a lot. So we talked about how prevalent coffee shops are in Korea.
That's right.
And I am not complaining.
Oh, I think a lot of people are happy. I mean, that's why we have so many coffee shops.
Yeah.
'Cause people love coffee.
Right. And Korean coffee shops are cool. There's so many trendy
Yeah,
ones.
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, now the top eatery business is still Korean restaurants, but number two is coffee shops.
What I was interested in, though, are we classifying all Korean food sort of together? Because
guess
there's so many
so.
different kinds of Korean restaurants, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't looked into the specifics,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess it could be.
Right.
You know, a combination of all sorts of Korean restaurants. But number two, nonetheless, is coffee shops, and it looks like chicken shops have been moved down to number three.
But there's still a lot of them. Don't worry.
Of course.
Don't worry.
We all love our chicken.
Korean fried chicken's not going anywhere.
The second expression was to storm a building.
Yeah, right. So in this case, when a building is stormed, it's kind of attacked, or if police were to storm a building, they wouldn't be attacking it. They would be entering it in large numbers to try and stop, you know, some crime happening.
Right.
If you say that you stormed out of a room or someone stormed out of a room, they just leave really, really quickly, usually because they're angry.
개인적으로는 그러니까 storm out of a room 그러면은 씩씩거리면서 화내면서 나 화났어 그러면서 나가는 것도 storm out of the room 이라고 말할 수 있지만 여러 사람이 같이 storm into a building or just storm a building 이렇게 얘기하면은 난입을 한다 이런 느낌이에요. 그래서 Brazil 얘기였죠. This happened in Brasilia.
Yeah.
거기서 이제 많은 사람들이 저기 뭐 입법, 행정, 사법부의 각 산부 기관에 난입을 하는 그런 폭동이 이루어졌는데 그 얘기입니다. People stormed many buildings in Brazil. The third expression was to collapse.
If a person collapses, they fall to the ground. And usually they've lost consciousness, they faint, I don't know, perhaps they drank too much and collapsed or had an injury, maybe,
Sure.
so it could be for that. Buildings, again, can collapse if there are structural problems or bridges can collapse. Fall to the ground,
Exactly. Crumble. 와르르 쓰러지는 거를 collapse 한다라고 합니다. The next expression was to curb something.
To curb something. So curb, on a road, a curb is that rounded edge of the sidewalk. Now, if you curb something, you kind of try to control it, right? Like I think of that shape.
Right.
If there's a curb, it's kind of rounded. So it's like, we don't want this thing to happen. Let's control it. Let's try to reduce it a little bit, limit it from growing.
So we could think of that image of, the pedestrian part of the road, and then you have the road where cars will drive on, and that thing in the middle there is the curb.
Yeah, the kind of the divider line.
그렇죠. 인도와 차도를 이게 사이에 나눠주는 인도 끝에 있는 거, 요거를 이제 커브라고 사실 부르거든요. 그래서 커브라는 동사는 뭐냐면 억제한다, 뭐 제한한다 이런 느낌이 있어요. 인도에서는 사실 이제 사람이 그 차도에 가는 것을 막기 위해서 있는 거죠. 거기까지만 사람이 다녀야 이제 안전한 거니까. 그렇게 해서 뭐 같이 생각하셔도 될 것 같고 여기서는 curb the deepfake
Yes.
production.
They really
이런
want to
얘기였어요.
control that.
네,
They don't want it to grow.
그렇죠.
They see where it's going. No, let's bring that back.
그래서 여기서는 규제의 의미로 쓰였습니다. The final expression was cutlery.
Cutlery. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would be like, set the table, get the cutlery out, put it on the table. So cutlery is your eating utensils, your
Eating
knife,
utensils.
fork, spoon, fork, not pork,
Yeah.
fork, and chopsticks.
Chopsticks, yeah. Anything you eat with.
Anything you eat with.
Yeah. Eating utensels를 cutlery라고 합니다. 그래서 숟가락, 젓가락, 포크, 나이프, 뭐 디저트 스푼, 그다음에 이제 그
Teaspoon,
뭐,
tablespoon,
그러니까요. 사실
soup
이제
spoon.
고급 레스토랑에 가면은 숟가락도 여러 개, knives and forks도 여러 개만 있을 수 있어요. 이거 다 cutlery예요. As a whole, you call all of these utensils that you find at a posh restaurant cutlery.
Yeah.
And sometimes it
not
can
even
be
posh restaurants. It can be any restaurant.
well,
They got
that's true.
cutlery at diners.
그래요. 자, 그래서 이런 플라스틱 커틀러리도 이제 앞으로는 테이크어웨이의 경우에 사용하지 못하도록 한다라고 했습니다.
I love getting takeaway in England.
Yeah.
The first thing I do every time I go there, first place I go, a chip shop.
Fish and chip shop.
Fish and chip shops and takeaway.
Well, you won't be able to get any plastic cutlery
I
from
don't.
them anymore.
I try not to, anyways.
Yeah, I think they normally wrap it up in newspaper.
Yeah, that's what they do, right? And you
Yeah.
can actually, if you want to, you can. If you're outside, you can eat it from that.
맞아요.
But I don't like to do it because I need ketchup. So I got to take it, and I don't like to, so I like to sit down, I put it on a plate, and then put my ketchup on it.
그래요.
Or curry sauce. You ever had chips with curry sauce?
No,
It's probably a
I've never had
newer
it.
thing. Maybe
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe they weren't doing that back when
That sounds
you lived
interesting.
there. Oh, it's great. In Scotland, they'll even put cheese on it. It's kind of like a poutine. Terrible for you. So you should only eat this kind of stuff in moderation. But it's great.
Excellent. 자, 이렇게 해서 오늘 헤드라인즈에 나오는 expressions 살펴봤습니다. 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣게 하실 수 있습니다. 1월 11일 수요일 모닝 헤드라인즈 뉴스캐스터 레이와 함께 시작합니다.
China has suspended issuing short-term visas for South Korean visitors in a retaliatory move against Seoul's COVID-19 travel curbs on travelers from China.
중국이 한국 정부의 중국발 입국자 코로나19 방역 강화에 대한 보복성 조치로 한국인에 대한 단기 비자 발급을 중단했습니다.
More Korean women are now tying the knot in their 30s than in their 20s, according to Statistics Korea, marking the first time the number of first marriages for women in their 30s has outpaced those in their 20s since records began in 1990.
통계청 자료에 따르면 1990년 통계 작성 이래 처음으로 우리나라 30대 여성의 초혼 건수가 20대를 초월했습니다.
Torrential downpours have battered most of California, with 90% of its population, or more than 34 million people, under a flood watch amid growing threats of mudslides, power outages, and deadly inundation.
미국 캘리포니아주 대부분 지역에 폭풍우가 강타하면서 산사태, 정전, 홍수의 위험이 증가하고 있는 가운데 주민의 약 90%인 3,400만 명 이상이 살고 있는 지역에 홍수주의보가 내려졌습니다.
The leaders of the U.S., Canada, and Mexico have issued a joint statement ahead of their trilateral summit condemning the January 8 attacks on Brazil's democracy after supporters of ousted President Jair Bolsonaro stormed major government buildings.
북미 3국 정상회의에 참석 중인 미국, 캐나다, 멕시코 정상은 공동 성명을 내고 브라질 자이르 볼소나로 전 대통령 지지자들이 지난 8일 일으킨 폭동 사태를 규탄했습니다.
Travel demand for the upcoming Seoul holiday has skyrocketed to more than 7,000% compared to last year, with Southeast Asia and Japan being the most sought-after destinations.
올해 설 연휴 기간 여행 예약 건수가 지난해 대비 7,000% 이상 증가했으며 인기 있는 해외 여행지는 동남아와 일본인 것으로 나타났습니다. And those are our headlines today. Morning Headline Expressions. From the headlines today, let's have a look at our key expressions. The first one was short-term visa.
Anything that's short-term doesn't last for a very long time.
Right.
So you might have a short-term relationship,
Yeah.
the opposite being long-term.
Ah, yeah, or a short-term memory.
Short-term memory, long-term memory.
Long-term memory.
Exactly. And a visa is just that official document, or it's normally a stamp.
Yeah.
Some countries it's a sticker.
Yeah, and you need a visa to travel to other countries.
Right, and sometimes you can get that visa when you arrive. Sometimes you need to get it prior to arriving.
That's true.
It just allows you to enter the country. And it says how long you're allowed to stay.
Yeah, definitely. 자, 우리가 비자라고 하는 거 이거 비자죠. 그리고 단기 비자는 short-term visa라고 부릅니다. 자, 그 다음으로 결혼하다, 혼인하다, to tie the knot.
To
Dun,
get
dun, dun.
to get married, you tie the knot.
네, 그래요.
A lot of people go to
yeah.
Vegas to tie the knot.
I heard that's very swift and convenient.
Yes, yeah, you can watch the movie
But
The
some people
Hangover
regret
if you
it
want
as well.
to. Yeah,
yeah, 그래요.
Britney Spears. Yeah.
뭐 라스베이거스에서 결혼하는 거에 대해서 지금 약간 이제 뭐 진심 겸 뭐 농담 겸으로 얘기해 주신 것 같은데 to tie the knot, you know, is to get married. 그런데 한국에서 이제는요, 초혼인 여성들 같은 경우에는 20대보다 30대가 더 많아졌습니다. More people in Korea, women that is, get married for the first time in their 30s than in their 20s.
And men as
Yeah.
well, but they've been
But
doing
that's
it for a
been
while.
Yeah, definitely. So the average age of people getting married is moving up. It's going up.
Yeah, which is exactly what's happened. What
Yeah.
happened in Western countries years ago.
Definitely, yeah.
Especially as women as work more, right? The
Yeah, they
career
work
becomes
more.
more important.
Yeah.
Things become more expensive, so men are worried about, do I have enough money?
Yeah, and some people choose not to get married as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's so different to, say, 50 years ago, for example,
Yeah.
when people expected you to get married in Korea when
Even
you were like 25.
10
you know.
years ago, I used to hear about that.
Oh, yeah, you told us about that
and
when
it
you
was
arrived
kind-
in Busan.
Right, and it was kind of a little bit shocking to me a little bit.
Right. Well, there you go.
Yeah, things are changing.
Let's move on to the next expression, and this is about battering a city or a state or something. We're talking about the weather.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll hear coasts, right?
Coasts
The
can
coast
be
was
battered.
battered by wind or
Yeah.
rain. It means
Yeah.
to be damaged or hit by it. Because that's what batter can mean, right?
Yeah.
If you're talking in boxing, you might say, the one boxer battered his opponent. He hit him a whole bunch of times.
So it means to hit, but it's stronger than hit. And normally with the weather, typhoons, hurricanes, tsunami, I suppose, or
Yeah.
anything that can cause disaster.
Yes.
You know, you would say this has hit, and then the place.
Yeah, batter I think is normally just for rain and wind though, because it's kind of it's coming down on it and actually hitting it.
So rain, maybe a typhoon.
Yeah,
or
maybe even blizzards.
Yeah, things like that. Or maybe if there's a lot of snow, that could.
That's what a
maybe-
blizzard. Yeah, blizzard, lots of snow.
Okay, there you go then. Lots of snow, blizzard, or lots of rain,
Yeah.
downpours can batter a place. 그래서 어느 지역을 강타하다라고 할 때요. 날씨 관련된 뉴스에서 많이 쓰이는 표현이고요. 대신에 히트 쓸 수도 있고 그 외에도 다른 동사들이 있습니다. 그 다음으로는요. 공동성명, joint statement.
When you hear joint, it means with more than one person.
Yeah.
Right? So 2-3 people, a joint statement, they all got together
Yeah.
and put the statement out. You gave a great example earlier. You can talk about something being a joint effort or a group effort.
Yes. And I think you almost always use the verb issue with joint statement.
Yeah.
You could say announce, but I think issue is more common.
That's what I would say. Same with like we
Issue.
talked about visa. Issue a visa.
Issue a visa.
I would use it that way as well.
그러네요. 아까 비자를 발급하다 할 때 그 동사도 issue고요. 공동 성명을 내다 할 때도 동사가 issue입니다.
Statement, I might say release. They
Release?
released a joint statement.
그것도
We could
가능하네요.
also do that.
네, 발표하다라는 느낌으로 they released a joint statement도 가능합니다. The final expression is sought after.
If something is sought after, it's in high demand. Everybody
Yeah.
wants it. It's desirable. Sometimes when things are sought after, it can be
Yeah.
hard to get
Yeah.
because everyone's trying to get it.
Yeah, I know you're really into sneakers. Sometimes I hear there are very sought after sneakers that are hard to get.
Yes, that is.
Have you ever lined up for any of those or tried to
no.
order them?
Nah, because I just think if I miss it, I'll get another one. Right? There's always
Some other one, yeah.
There have been some that I have considered. I have gone early to stores and got ones that I want, but I know I'm the kind of person that actually, if something is too sought after, then I'm like, well, I don't want it. Everyone's getting it. I'm going to find something else.
그래요. 많은 사람들이 갖고 싶어하는 운동화라든지 이런 얘기를 할 때도 sought after something 뭐 이렇게 얘기할 수 있는데 여기서는 sought after travel destination. 많은 사람들이 이번에 설 연휴 동안 여행을 한다고 하는데요. 그중에서도 동남아와 일본으로 여행 계획하신 분들이 참 많다고 합니다.
It sounds like Vietnam is the most sought after destination for Korean travelers this year.
Definitely. 자, 이렇게 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 익스프레션스는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 자, 그럼 1월 12일 목요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 레이와 함께 시작합니다.
Korea added more than 810,000 jobs last year, marking the largest annual job growth in 22 years, according to Statistics Korea.
통계청 발표에 따르면 지난해 국내 취업자 수가 전년보다 81만 명 이상 늘어 22년 만에 최대 증가폭을 기록했습니다.
The World Health Organization has advised travelers to wear masks on long-haul flights due to the large number of cases of the highly transmissible Omicron subvariant XBB.1.5.
전파력이 막강한 오미크론 하위 변이 XBB.1.5의 확진자가 급증하자 세계보건기구 WHO가 장거리 비행을 하는 승객들에게 마스크를 착용할 것을 권고했습니다.
In a revolutionary partnership, Ford, General Motors, Google, SunPower, and Sunrun have teamed up to launch the Virtual Power Plant Partnership, or VP3, to increase the resiliency of the grid and help decarbonize the electric sector.
재해 시 전력망 복구 능력을 높이고 전기 분야의 탈탄소화를 가속화하기 위해 포드 자동차, 제너럴모터스, 구글, 태양광 업체 선파워와 선런 등이 모여 혁신적인 협업 체제인 가상 발전소 파트너십, 일명 VP3를 발족했습니다.
Scientists have warned that it could take around 23 million years for the biodiversity on the island of Madagascar to recover from the extinction spurred by human activity.
마다가스카르 섬에서 인간 활동으로 멸종이 가속화한 생물을 사후 복원할 경우 섬의 생물 다양성을 이전 수준으로 회복하는데 약 2,300만 년이 걸릴 수 있다는 과학자들의 경고가 나왔습니다.
The 80th annual Golden Globe Awards have taken place in Los Angeles, with Argentina 1985 winning the Best Non-English Language Film Award, beating out Bak Chan-wook's Decision to Leave.
로스앤젤레스에서 열린 제80회 골든글로브 시상식에서 아르헨티나 1985가 박찬욱 감독의 영화 헤어질 결심을 누르고 비영어 작품상 수상작으로 선정됐습니다.
And those are our headlines.
Morning Headline Expressions.
자, 오늘의 헤드라인에 나왔던 주요 표현입니다. To mark something.
In this context, we were talking about the job growth, right? And it marked the largest annual job growth in Korea in 22 years. So that's quite significant.
Yep.
So when we say it marked it, it just was it, but we use it this way. We use it marks it to kind of emphasize it and show its importance or show its significance.
네, 뉴스에서 종종 나오는 표현인데요. 이러이러한 것을 기록했습니다 라는 뜻인데 거기에 방점을 두고 이게 굉장히 중요한 수치를 얘기할 때 주로 mark something 이라고 얘기를 하는 거고요. 이 단어 하나만 단독으로 이해하시기보다는 이 뉴스 속에서 어떻게 쓰이는지를 같이 보시면서 외우시는 게 더 좋습니다.
So oftentimes there'll be events that will mark like an anniversary, a 50th anniversary of a company, for example. They'll have a big event. Or why do we celebrate birthdays? Because it marks the day of our birth in a sense.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That day, it emphasizes that we were born on this day and we celebrate it.
To mark something. Well, the second expression was transmissible.
If something's transmissible, it means it can pass from people to people, or in some things, it can pass from animal to person, or the other way. We also, in the headline, it said it was highly transmissible, the new subvariant. So highly meaning very. So this subvariant is highly transmissible more than others.
Very easy to catch.
Yes.
전파력이 굉장히 강하다라는 뜻으로 highly transmissible이라고 할 수 있습니다. The next term was revolutionary.
Something's revolutionary. It's brand new. It's a new way of doing something. Marks a big change as well.
Yeah, do you remember when smartphones first came out?
Oh, yeah.
It was revolutionary.
Oh, we've seen so many. That's the thing with technology. We've seen so many revolutionary
Yeah, it
things.
seems very outdated to say that now because it's just a part of daily life.
Yeah,
but at the time, you know.
And it wasn't that long.
What?
And it wasn't that long ago.
I know. What, 2 decades? I don't know. One
Not
one
even.
decade?
Not because like they were around, but not everybody had them.
That's true, actually.
So I was telling someone like the other day that years ago when I lived in Busan and then I moved to Seoul and I met Lee Dae-ho, baseball player, in Seoul. Like I was just walking on the street and I saw him.
You just bumped into him.
Yeah, I just saw him. I was like, oh, that guy's big. And I said to my friend, oh, that's Lee Dae-ho. And we lived in Busan together. So like she knew who he was.
Yeah.
And then he looked at us because he heard his name.
Right.
And, 안녕하세요. And he said hi to me. And everyone I tell this to, where's the picture?
Yeah.
Where's the picture? I didn't have a smartphone then.
No picture, didn't happen.
It was 2010, right? And I didn't have a smartphone then. If I had a smartphone, I would have got a picture with him.
아, 그래요. 너무 아쉽네요.
Not that long ago, right? 2010, I didn't have a smartphone then.
It was before the revolutionary smartphones became part of everyday life.
Yeah, and some things that are revolutionary are good, some are bad, some are mixed.
True. Okay, the next expression is to spur something or be spurred by
Be
someone
spurred by
or something.
Yeah, encouraged to do something.
Right.
In this case, we were talking about extinction spurred by human activity. So that would mean accelerated by people. Some animals, they went extinct faster than they would have because of human activity,
네.
unfortunately.
그래요. spur라는 동사는 박차를 가하다라는 뜻으로 보시면 되겠습니다. I believe it's a slightly different meaning when you say hotspur. The noun. Of course, we think of the football team, but I think we're referring to a person who is maybe spurred on. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never heard that.
The dictionary definition as a noun says it's an impetuous. I don't know what these words mean actually. But,
Impetuous?
I think that's the word. That's why I need you, Ray. Impetuous.
Don't ask me what it means.
네, 발음도 못하겠네요. 네, hotspur는 좀 다른 단어입니다. 그 얘기를 하고 싶었던 거예요. 나중에 정리해서 저희가 한번 또 이 단어의 어원이랑 뜻도 한번 파헤쳐 보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 마지막으로 take place 볼게요.
That's where something happened. The location of something.
그래요. 이제 발생하다, 일어나다라고 할 때 take place. An event can take place, or an award ceremony can take place.
Yeah, and usually we use it in the past tense to talk about where something happened.
Yeah.
This event took place in Seoul. Or I guess you could say,
in
will.
the future tense.
Yeah,
you know.
the next Olympics will take place
Sure.
in...
Something formal,
I forget.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, not something every day, a daily activity like going to work.
Yeah, or like
That
if you
doesn't
said to
take
me,
place.
"Oh, I'm having a party. Where will that take place?" That sounds
formal.
weird, right? Like, "Oh, where?"
Yeah, but if it's a company event or something,
Sure.
or a big international conference or something, you could say, "Oh, it's going to take place at whenever."
And that's how it'll be written a lot too.
그래요. 네, 좀 공식적인 느낌이 있습니다. Take place는 개최되다, 일어나다, 발생하다 이런 느낌으로 보시면 되겠어요. 자, 이렇게 헤드라인에 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 익스프레션스는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 자, 1월 13일 금요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 폴과 함께 시작합니다.
An extremely rare traditional Korean lacquer box from the 16th century that had been long kept by a Japanese national has made its way back to the motherland after being bought at auction in the US.
일본인이 수장하고 있던 16세기 조선시대에 제작된 희귀한 나전함이 미국에서 열린 경매를 통해 한국으로 돌아왔습니다.
The US and Japan have condemned North Korea's continued ballistic missile provocations and reaffirmed their unwavering commitment to the complete denuclearization of North Korea.
미국과 일본은 북한의 지속적인 탄도미사일 도발을 규탄하면서 완전한 북한 비핵화 추진에 대한 의지를 재확인했습니다.
China has suspended its 3 to 6 day transit visa exemption for Korean and Japanese citizens in yet another retaliatory step against the country's entry restrictions on arrivals from China aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19.
중국이 코로나19 방역 강화에 따른 추가적인 보복성 조치로 한국과 일본 국민에게 중국 경유 3에서 6일 비자 면제 프로그램을 적용하지 않기로 결정했습니다.
A technical glitch at the US Federal Aviation Administration brought tens of thousands of flights to a halt on Wednesday, with the FAA saying that at this time there is no evidence of a cyber attack.
지난 수요일 전산 오작동으로 미국 전역의 국내선 항공기 운항이 중단됐으며 현재까지 사이버 공격에 대한 증거는 없다고 미 연방 항공청 FAA가 밝혔습니다.
A plane with 25 passengers flying across Siberia was forced to make an emergency landing after the rear door of the aircraft sprang open soon after takeoff.
25명의 승객을 싣고 시베리아 상공을 비행하던 러시아 항공기의 뒷문이 열려 비상 착륙하는 사고가 발생했습니다. And those are our headlines today. Morning Headline Expressions. Let's have a look at the key expressions from today's headlines to make one's way back.
Yes, to return, but perhaps a little bit slowly, or perhaps you have to overcome obstacles. Perhaps you take the long way round. It's not just a direct journey back. There's something a little bit longer or more troublesome about it.
The expression itself is longer than saying to come back.
Exactly.
So I guess that's the nuance there. 돌아오다라는 뜻인데요. 우리가 짧게는 그냥 come back 해도 되지만 이게 느낌상 좀 뭔가 어렵게 돌아오는 느낌이 있는 것 같아요. 그래서 to make one's way back 라는 표현을 쓸 수 있습니다. 실제로 그랬고요. The lacquer box made its way back to Korea after 500 years. So that was no easy feat. The next expression is unwavering.
Should I explain? No.
You're wavering.
Yeah, I am wavering. Sorry, let me be resolute. Let me be steady. And let me tell you what this means. This means that I'm committed to something, that I'm not going to go this way or that way. I'm going to go straight down the line.
Unwavering, 흔들림 없이 확고하게 이런 느낌이 있는데요. Unwavering commitment니까요. 굳은 결의를 가지고 우리가 정말 늘 그랬듯이 이제 앞으로 이것을 위해서 한 마음이 되고 앞으로 이렇게 합시다라고 하는 그런 결의를 보여주는 거예요. 그래서 실제로 여기 있었던 내용은 The US and Japan have reaffirmed their unwavering commitment to the complete denuclearization of North Korea. They're not saying, should we Should we not? No, they're not doing that.
No, it's
They're saying,
absolutely,
we
100%.
must do this. Yeah, there you go. The next expression is an exemption.
I wouldn't normally explain this, Sue, but for you, I'll make an exemption.
Make an exemption.
if we are an exemption or if we have an exemption, it means we're free from the normal rule. We're allowed to do something whereas we would not be able to ordinarily.
네, 원래 이제 면제라는 뜻이 있어요. 그래서 transit visa exemption이라는 게 있습니다. 중국을 경유할 때 이제 며칠 동안은 비자 없이 경유할 수 있도록 하는 요 면제 프로그램에서 한국인과 일본인은 제외하겠다라는 발표가 나왔대요. So the Chinese government has said for Korean and Japanese travelers, you will no longer be exempt from this transit visa. The next expression was at this time.
Yes, Sue, at this time, I do not know who the winner of the 무모한 문장 will be.
Nor do I.
But we will find out in just a couple of minutes.
아, 좋아요. At this time, 현재로서는 이라는 뜻인데요. 아직까지는 오늘 선물 받으실 분이 정확히 누군지 모릅니다. At this time, we don't know exactly who's going to win the prize for the 무모한 문장. 네, 그렇게 쓸 수 있고요. 마지막으로 to be forced to do something.
Yes, if we're forced to do something, we have to do something because of our circumstance or because of something that's happening around us. In this case, it was a plane that was forced to make an emergency landing because the door sprung open.
어쩔 수 없이 뭐뭐 할 때 be forced to do something이라고 할 수 있습니다. For example, I was planning to hold an outdoor party.
In this weather?
But it started to rain.
So you were forced to bring it inside?
Yes. 이런 식으로 갑자기 비가 오는 바람에 야외에서 행사를 하려고 했는데 실내에서 하게 됐어요. 라는 의미로 여기서 I was forced to hold the event indoors 이렇게 얘기할 수 있습니다. 그래서 강요의 의미도 있지만 이렇게 어쩔 수 없이 했다라는 좀 다른 의미로도 해석할 수 있다는 거 꼭 기억해 주세요. 자, 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤습니다. 모닝 헤드라인 expressions는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다.